For 100 years, the island was paradise. The monkeys ruled the trees, fearless and loud, with no predators left to challenge them. Then everything changed. Scientists decided to restore balance by releasing 2 harpy eagles, the most powerful birds of prey on Earth. What happened next was nothing like the plan. Within days, the forest fell silent. The monkeys vanished from the treetops, and the project meant to save nature turned into a brutal fight for survival. The birth of Barrow, Colorado Island. This is Barrow, Colorado Island, hidden in the very heart of the Panama Canal. It appeared just over 100 years ago, when rising waters from the canal construction flooded the tropical forests. Since then, the island has been declared a nature reserve, a carefully balanced ecosystem almost untouched by humans. Barrow, Colorado is home to several primate tribes, each with its own unique role. Spider monkeys are experts in acrobatics and stealth, moving through the treetops with unmatched skill. Capuchin monkeys are clever explorers, adept at handling objects and solving problems. Marmosets, tiny and quick, act as scouts, alerting the others to any sign of danger. Dominating the island are the howler monkeys, controlling most of the territory. Each group averages about 20 individuals, with roughly 65 groups across the island. The system runs like clockwork. Disease is the only real threat. There are no conflicts, no overlapping territories, and deaths are rare and natural. The animals have long lost the instinct of fear. Over 100 years, this artificial paradise has grown into a place without hunting, without violence, and without the knowledge that death could come at someone else's hand. For over a century, Barrow, Colorado Island has been a perfect self-sustaining ecosystem, a living, breathing Eden. But paradise is fragile. Unknown to its residents, 2 beings were about to arrive, and in just a few days they would change everything forever. Arrival of the Harpy eagles. In 1999, 2 Harpy eagles arrived, a male in June and a female in October. Both carried radio transmitters, clear proof that their appearance was no accident but part of a human experiment. And what creatures they were! Massive, otherworldly, almost unreal, part hippogriff, part machine. With their pale eyes and feathered crowns, they looked like something created from pure imagination. It is no wonder early explorers named them after the harpies of Greek mythology, winged predators feared for their strength and ferocity. In legend, they were messengers of punishment. In reality, the harpy eagle lives up to its name as one of the largest and most powerful birds of prey on Earth. True to its namesake, this eagle is both magnificent and formidable. It can stand more than 1 meter tall, with a wingspan stretching over 2 meters, yet what truly defines it is its power. Its legs are as thick as a human wrist, its talons longer than a grizzly bear's claws, and its grip can exert more than 500 pounds of pressure per square inch, enough to crush bone in an instant. Despite its immense size, the harpy eagle is not built for soaring across open skies. Instead, it is a creature of the forest, a specialist adapted for life within the dense canopy of Central and South America. From southern Mexico through Panama, across the Amazon basin, and down to northern Argentina, it reigns over some of the most biodiverse regions on Earth. Everything about the harpy eagle's body serves a purpose. Its short, broad wings give it maneuverability in tight spaces, allowing it to weave between trunks and vines where no other large raptor can follow. Its long tail provides balance and acts as a rudder during sharp turns. Its keen eyesight can spot the flicker of movement hundreds of feet below, even in the dim light of the jungle. But its most deadly features are its talons and its silence. The harpy eagle hunts with an almost spectral grace, descending through the canopy in a controlled dive. Its prey rarely sees or hears it coming until the moment those talons strike. Within seconds, the fight is over. The harpy's diet is a testament to its dominance. It feeds primarily on medium-sized arboreal mammals, sloths, monkeys, and opossums. Occasionally, it will take larger prey, young deer, cotis, or even other birds. Its sheer power allows it to lift animals nearly its own weight and carry them effortlessly through the trees. In the food web of the rainforest, it stands at the very top, an apex predator without equal. Harpy eagles mate for life. A bonded pair will return to the same nesting tree year after year, strengthening their partnership over decades. They favor the tallest trees in the forest, particularly the great capox and Brazil nut trees that rise above the canopy. Their nests are vast platforms of sticks, sometimes stretching over 2 meters across and weighing several hundred kilograms, true fortresses of the treetops. Their reproductive rate is extraordinarily slow. The female lays a single egg every 2 or 3 years. Both parents share the duty of raising the chick, which remains in the nest for more than half a year and depends on its parents for nearly 2 years after hatching. Such a deliberate pace reflects the stability of their environment, but it also means the species is highly vulnerable to disturbance. A single nesting pair may require more than 30 square miles of unbroken forest to survive. This immense range ensures a steady supply of prey, but it also means that any loss of habitat can quickly become catastrophic. When the Harpy eagles arrived on Barrow, Colorado Island, they found a world unprepared for their return. The monkeys that once ruled the treetops now faced a predator they had never known. The peace that had lasted for a century was about to end. The sky turns predator. When the Harpy eagles showed up, everything else in the forest dropped on the food chain. They didn't stalk or circle for long. They attacked fast and without warning. A Harpy eagle doesn't soar above the trees. It hides inside them. It waits on a high branch, watching and listening. When it locks onto a target, usually a monkey or a sloth, it doesn't dive like other birds of prey. It launches forward through the trees, weaving between trunks and branches with short explosive wing beats. There's no sound except the last crack of branches before impact. When it hits, it doesn't miss. The talons close with a grip that can break bone instantly. The claws are as long as a human finger. A single strike to the skull or spine ends the fight immediately. If the prey is still alive, the eagle crushes it against the branch until it stops moving. Sometimes it carries the body away. Other times, it drops it to the ground to kill on impact before picking it up again. The attacks became routine. The female eagle hunted every few days. The male did it more often. They covered large areas of the island, picking off anything that moved in the canopy. Howler monkeys were the easiest targets. Their loud calls gave away their location. The eagles learned the patterns, waiting for the sound before striking. Capuchins, smaller and quicker, stood no chance once spotted. The birds would come from behind, grab and lift them out of sight before the rest of the group realized what happened. Sloths were no safer. The eagles figured out how to attack them from every position. If a sloth sat upright, the eagle would grab it by the shoulders and pull it away. If it hung upside down, the bird would swoop upward, twist in midair, and tear it off the branch before it could react. The speed was terrifying. The entire attack was over in seconds. Researchers began finding half-eaten carcasses under the nesting sites. The forest changed quickly. The usual sounds of monkeys, birds, and sloths quieted down. But it wouldn't remain like this for long. These animals would learn to fight back. The jungle learns fear. As time passed, females began clutching their infants tight, their hearts pounding as they darted into the densest patches of foliage, desperate for cover. The safety was mostly an illusion, but it was all they had. Males moved in the opposite direction, spreading out, climbing higher, calling to one another in urgent warning cries. They became lookouts, sacrificing safety for the chance to alert the group. Their courage was instinctive, a reflex born from the chaos that now ruled the canopy. The eagles always struck when calm returned during moments of grooming, feeding, or rest. One instant the forest would hum with soft chatter, the next it would erupt into screaming panic. The whoops of howlers echoed like alarm sirens through the trees, shattering the still air. Each species learned to cope in its own way. Capuchins bolted down the trunks, fleeing across the ground where the eagle's wings couldn't follow. Tamarins jumped too, but froze instead of running, pressing themselves flat against the forest floor, praying invisibility would save them. Even the sloths, slow and seemingly defenseless, learned to fight back. They hissed, growled, and swung their long claws toward the predators, sometimes managing to scratch or fend them off. Others tried to hide deep in the canopies, under thick tangles of branches where the eagle's broad wings could not reach. The hidden experiment. What happened on Barrow, Colorado Island wasn't random. It was planned. The arrival of the Harpy eagles was part of a controlled experiment designed to answer one question. What happens when a powerful predator is reintroduced into an ecosystem that has forgotten what fear is? For nearly 100 years, the animals on the island had lived without large predators. The monkeys, sloths, and other species had no reason to look up. They didn't recognize danger from above, and many of their survival instincts had faded. Researchers saw a rare opportunity, a closed environment where they could safely test how prey species would react if a natural killer suddenly returned. So, scientists introduced the breeding pair of Harpy eagles to the island. Over the next 14 months, they tracked them using radio transmitters, motion sensors, and hidden cameras. Every movement, every hunt, and every vocal reaction from the animals below was recorded. The goal was to see if prey could relearn fear, not over generations, but in real time. The change came fast. Within weeks, the forest's soundscape shifted. Howler monkeys developed a new alarm call, short, sharp, and directed only at aerial threats. Before the eagles arrived, no such warning existed. Now, one distinct cry meant eagle. The researchers watched as behavior spread across groups. Young monkeys learned the call from adults who had seen attacks. Some even froze at the sight of shadows passing overhead. Fear had been restored, not through evolution, but through experience. Barrow, Colorado had become a living model of what scientists call trophic restoration, the return of top predators to ecosystems that have lost them. Around the world, wolves, tigers, and big cats have been wiped out from their natural ranges. Without them, prey lose their defensive instincts. Populations grow too large. Forests and grasslands suffer. The island experiment gave researchers a chance to see the opposite, to watch a dead system come back to life, though violently. The findings were clear. Predators don't just control populations, they control behavior. They teach fear, and that fear shapes everything: where animals feed, when they move, and how they communicate. In just a few months, instincts that had disappeared for generations reappeared. What began as a quiet research project ended up revealing how fast evolution can react when the pressure returns. The scientists proved that fear isn't only a reaction, it's a survival tool, and once it's lost, the entire ecosystem forgets how to defend itself. Inside the mind of a predator. The Barrow, Colorado experiment did more than reveal how preys adapt. It also opened a window into the psychology of the Harpy eagle itself. Before this study, little was known about these formidable birds beyond their size and power. But through careful observation and radio tracking, scientists began to see patterns not of brute instinct, but of calculated intelligence. When prey stayed calm and moved in unison, the eagles hesitated. They preferred not to attack a coordinated group. But when panic broke out, when one monkey bolted while another froze, that was their moment. They struck with precision, exploiting confusion like seasoned strategists. Even within the pair, there was a distinct division of labor. Males preferred variety, smaller prey, different species, even young or ground-dwelling animals. The females, however, specialized in large, predictable kills, the kind that could feed both eagles for days. Every choice was deliberate, every movement part of a strategy honed by evolution. But one question lingered. Why Harpy eagles? Of all the predators that could have been reintroduced, why choose these giants? The answer began with sound. Harpy eagles announced themselves before every strike with a deep, piercing cry, a call so distinct that even primates who had never encountered them before seemed to recognize it as danger. That unique vocal signature made them perfect for behavioral research. Scientists could record and play back the calls, measuring how quickly fear spread through the monkey troops and how their alarm calls evolved in response. Yet there was another, far deeper reason. Harpy eagles are among the last surviving top predators of the neotropics, a symbol of what the natural world has lost. Across the planet, large predators are disappearing: wolves, tigers, jaguars, eagles, and with them, the ecological balance that keeps ecosystems alive. When predators vanish, their prey grow careless. Without fear, they overpopulate, overgraze, and the system collapses. By bringing harpy eagles back to Barrow, Colorado, scientists were not just studying behavior, they were testing restoration itself, asking whether fear, that ancient teacher, could be reawakened. The lessons learned here could shape how humanity restores damaged ecosystems and prepares species for the return of their lost hunters. The experiment reminded us of a simple truth: without predators, nature forgets how to survive. The fight to save the species. Even after decades of research and protection, the outlook for the harpy eagle remains dire. In Panama, fewer than 450 birds survive. Each one requires nearly 38 square miles of dense rainforest to live and breed an expanse of wilderness that is shrinking fast. Logging, hunting, and habitat loss have done the damage, but so has simple human curiosity. Some eagles are shot for meat, others out of fear for livestock, and some merely so people can see the world's largest eagle up close. Every loss pushes the species closer to extinction, and when predators disappear, the damage ripples outward. Without them, prey populations explode, vegetation changes, and entire ecosystems tilt off balance. The harpy eagle is what biologists call a keystone species, a creature whose presence anchors the stability of its environment. Protecting the harpy eagle means more than saving a single bird. It means defending the integrity of the forest itself, preserving the natural balance between hunter and hunted, and the quiet order that keeps the wild alive. But decline alone is not the end of the story. Around the world, scientists and conservationists have refused to let these giants vanish. What began as an experiment on fear has evolved into a global mission to bring the harpy eagle and the balance it represents back to the skies. The global implications of fear and reintroduction. Across the globe, ecologists are working to restore what nature has lost. The lessons from Barrow, Colorado, that fear maintains balance have shaped modern reintroduction efforts. By playing recordings of predator calls such as those of the harpy eagle, scientists can test whether animals still recognize danger and rebuild the instincts that keep ecosystems in check. Yet the harpy eagle itself needs saving. Listed internationally as near threatened and nearly gone from Central America, its slow reproduction makes recovery agonizingly difficult. One chick every 2 or 3 years, a 2-month incubation, and another 6 months in the nest. Each chick is the product of patience measured in years. To secure the species' future, researchers launched one of the most ambitious breeding programs ever attempted. Between 1987 and 2006, 2 specialized centers took up the challenge. The World Center for Birds of Prey in Boise, Idaho, built 6 climate-controlled rooms that mimicked tropical conditions despite the desert outside. Cameras and one-way glass let biologists observe the eagles without causing stress. Then, in 2001, the Neotropical Raptor Center opened in Panama, a sanctuary of 99 acres of humid forest near the canal, complete with 7 open-air breeding chambers and a nursery where chicks could hear and see adults but not interact directly. Pairing the birds was delicate work. Each couple was matched by age and temperament. Scientists monitored their behavior until genuine bonding formed. One joked the project felt like avian matchmaking swipe right if you love hunting sloths. The eagles were fed a lavish balanced diet: farm-raised rats, rabbits, guinea pigs, chickens, and mice dusted with vitamins and minerals. At peak season, the facilities produced or purchased thousands of animals: 6,000 mice, 400 rats, hundreds of rabbits to sustain the growing chicks. When young eagles matured, they entered the final stage, reintroduction. Using methods borrowed from falconry, each bird began with a soft release, exploring the wild while still supported with food and observation. Once capable of hunting independently, they were moved to new territories for a hard release, living entirely without human help. Some of those released eagles survived and nested in the wild again, a triumph measured not in numbers, but in hope. The effort to save the harpy eagle became more than conservation. It became proof that humanity can repair what it has broken, restoring balance, reviving lost instincts, and giving the last giants of the rainforest a second chance to rule the skies. Against extinction. Between 1998 and 2008, decades of work finally paid off. 50 harpy eagles were successfully reintroduced across Panama and nearby regions, a remarkable achievement for a species that produces only one chick every few years. Each release marked a small victory, a flight of hope for a bird once thought doomed. Yet the mission is far from over. Since the 19th century, the harpy eagle's range has shrunk by more than 40%. Today, most survivors are found deep in the Amazon basin. Even there, their forests are falling to chainsaws and fire. Scientists warn that without serious protection, these giants could vanish entirely even from their last strongholds in Brazil. Saving them starts with a simple but exhausting task: finding them. Tracking harpy eagles in the wild demands patience, endurance, and luck. Researchers trek through dense rainforests, scaling steep hills, crossing rivers, and navigating miles of tangled vegetation just to locate a single nest. The eagles prefer the tallest trees, especially the Brazil nut tree towering giants that can rise more than 160 feet high. Hidden among their crowns, the nests are nearly invisible until you're standing beneath them. One young eagle was rescued after loggers felled its nesting tree to clear land for cattle pasture. Alone and exposed, it was taken to a rehabilitation center and later returned to the wild, a fragile success that underscored how dependent survival has become on human help. Fieldwork like this is grueling. A single expedition can mean walking 30 miles in a day, or hundreds over several months without a single sighting. The forest swallows sound, hides movement, and guards its secrets fiercely. That's why researchers turn to those who know the jungle best, the local communities. In Brazil and Panama, conservationists began training indigenous residents and Brazil nut gatherers to identify harpy eagle calls, spot feathers, or fallen branches, and use their phones to record evidence. Each verified nest earned a $100 reward. What began as a small experiment grew into a model of collaboration. By 2020, these community scientists had discovered 34 active nests, a breakthrough made possible through cooperation, smartphones, and messaging apps connecting remote forest villages with research stations. The effort transformed conservation itself. What once relied on a handful of biologists now depends on thousands of eyes and ears across the rainforest. Biologists have also partnered with travel companies to build observation towers near active nests. For wildlife enthusiasts, spotting a harpy eagle in its natural habitat is as rare as seeing a unicorn. Tourists now travel from around the world for that experience, and their curiosity funds conservation. Local landowners earn around $20 per visitor, while communities gain jobs maintaining trails, building towers, and providing meals. Each discovered nest can become an economic lifeline, a living reason to protect rather than destroy the forest. In this cycle, knowledge replaces fear, and fascination replaces violence. The same curiosity that once led people to hunt these birds now inspires them to protect them. The story of the harpy eagle, from misunderstood predator to symbol of survival, proves one thing: when science, courage, and community come together, even the most fragile species can find a way to soar again. Nature's balance depends on creatures like these, and on people willing to protect them. What do you think? Should humans keep reintroducing predators to restore the wild? Or are we playing with forces we can't control? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. It helps more people discover stories like this one. Until next time, stay curious and stay wild.